Before we go any further, take a moment and make sure you are subscribed, because what you are about to hear is not just another story about coins. This is about something small, something ordinary, something that may already be sitting quietly in your home right now, completely unnoticed. And yet, in the right moment, in the right hands, it has the power to turn into something extraordinary. Now picture this for a second. You are at home, maybe late in the evening, going through an old drawer that has not been opened in years. It is filled with forgotten things, old papers, a few rusted keys, and some loose coins that have been pushed aside over time. You almost ignore them. After all, they look like nothing special, just small change. But then your fingers stop. You pick one up. A simple 1-cent coin from the first decimal series. Worn, quiet, and unassuming. The kind of coin that millions of people have handled without ever giving it a second thought. But what if I told you that this exact coin, or one just like it, could be worth more than you ever imagined? The 1 cent from the first decimal series represents a turning point in monetary history. It was introduced during a time when countries shifted from old currency systems to a new decimal-based system. For many people, it symbolized modernization, progress, and a new era. But today, decades later, it represents something very different. It represents rarity. It represents forgotten value. And for a select few, it represents life-changing money. Most people think that because it is only 1 cent, it cannot possibly be valuable. That is the first mistake. Value is not always about what is printed on the coin. It is about how many were made, how many survived, and how many are still out there waiting to be discovered. Over time, coins disappear. They get lost, melted down, damaged, or simply forgotten. And as that happens, the few that remain begin to tell a different story. Collectors around the world understand this. They are not looking at the coin the way an average person does. They are looking at its history, its condition, its uniqueness. They are searching for the small details that most people would never notice. A slight variation in the design, a rare mint mark, a printing error that occurred during production. These small differences can turn an ordinary coin into something incredibly valuable. Now imagine holding one of these coins in your hand. At first glance, it looks like any other 1-cent piece. But then you notice something slightly different. Maybe the lettering is sharper. Maybe the date has a unique spacing. Maybe there is a tiny flaw that should not be there. These are the kinds of details that collectors pay attention to. And these are the details that can change everything. Over the years, stories have surfaced of people who found these coins in the most unexpected places. Some found them in old piggy banks. Others discovered them in inherited collections that had been sitting untouched for decades. And some simply received them as change without realizing what they had. At first, they thought nothing of it. But later, when they took a closer look, everything changed. What makes the first decimal series 1-cent coin so fascinating is not just its age, but its journey. Think about how many hands it has passed through, how many pockets it has sat in, how many transactions it has been part of. Each coin carries a silent history, a path that is impossible to trace, but deeply meaningful. And somewhere along that path, a few of these coins became rare. Condition plays a powerful role in determining value. A coin that has been well preserved, with clear details and minimal wear, can be worth significantly more than one that has been heavily used. Collectors often look for coins that appear almost untouched, as if they have been frozen in time. These are the pieces that stand out, the ones that attract attention, the ones that can command extraordinary prices. But it is not just about condition. Rarity is the key factor, and rarity does not always mean old. It means scarce. It means difficult to find. It means that when a collector is searching for it, they may spend years without success. And when something is that hard to find, its value increases dramatically. Now let's take this a step further. Imagine that among all the 1-cent coins produced in the first decimal series, there were a few that had unique characteristics. Maybe a small batch was minted differently. Maybe there was a slight variation that went unnoticed at the time. These coins would blend in with the rest, circulating freely, unnoticed for years. But eventually, collectors would begin to notice. Patterns would emerge. And suddenly, what was once common would become rare. This is where things start to get interesting, because when demand meets rarity, value begins to rise. And not slowly. Sometimes, it rises in ways that seem almost unbelievable. Collectors compete. Auctions become intense. Prices climb higher and higher. and the coin that once seemed insignificant becomes the center of attention. There have been moments in the world of coin collecting where a single coin changed everything for someone. A simple discovery turned into a life-altering event. It is not about luck alone. It is about awareness. It is about knowing what to look for. It is about taking the time to examine what others ignore. And this is where you come in. Right now, there is a chance that you may already have one of these coins. It could be in your home, sitting quietly among other coins that you have never thought twice about. It could be part of an old collection that you inherited or forgot about. It could even be in your pocket, mixed in with everyday change. The question is, will you recognize it? Because most people will not. They will overlook it. They will spend it without a second thought. They will never realize what they had. But a few will take a closer look. A few will pay attention. And those few are the ones who discover something extraordinary. Take a moment and think about how many times you have handled coins without really looking at them. It is something we all do. We treat them as small, insignificant objects. But hidden among them are pieces of history, pieces of value, pieces that can tell a completely different story if you just take the time to notice. The one sent from the first decimal series is one of those pieces. It may look simple, but it carries a depth that most people never see. And for those who do see it, it opens the door to something much bigger. As you begin to understand this, something shifts. You start to look at coins differently. You start to pay attention to details. You start to wonder what else might be hiding in plain sight. And that curiosity leads to discovery. Now imagine the moment when you realize that the coin in your hand is not just any coin, that it has something special about it, that it might be one of the rare ones that collectors are searching for. That moment is powerful. It changes the way you see everything, because suddenly, that small piece of metal is no longer just a coin. It is an opportunity, and opportunities like this do not come around often. That is why those who understand the value of these coins take their time. They examine each one carefully. They look for signs, for details, for anything that sets it apart. They know that the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one can be incredibly small, but incredibly important. And here is the part that most people never hear. Some of these 1-cent coins from the first decimal series have reached values that go far beyond what anyone would expect. Not just a few dollars, not just a few hundred, but amounts that can completely change a person's financial situation. It sounds unbelievable. It sounds like something that could not possibly be true, but it has happened, and it continues to happen, because the world of coin collecting is driven by passion, by history, and by the pursuit of rarity. And when all of these factors come together, the results can be extraordinary. The next time you come across a 1-cent coin from the first decimal series, do not ignore it. Do not assume it has no value. Take a closer look. Pay attention to the details, because you never know what you might find. And if you do find something unusual, something different, something that stands out, do not let it go unnoticed. That small moment of curiosity could lead to something much bigger than you ever imagined. Because hidden in the most ordinary places are the most extraordinary possibilities. And for a few people, that possibility is turned into reality in a way that is almost impossible to believe. There are collectors out there, right now, who are willing to pay incredible amounts for the right coin. They are searching, waiting, hoping to find that one piece that completes their collection. And when they find it, they are willing to go further than most people would ever expect. This is where the story reaches its peak. Because among the many 1-cent coins from the first decimal series, there are a few that stand above the rest. A few that have become legendary among collectors. A few that are so rare, so unique, that their value has reached levels that seem almost unreal. And in the right condition, with the right characteristics, one of these coins has been known to reach a value of up to $2 million. Yes, $2 million for a single 1-cent coin. Let that sink in for a moment. A coin that most people would overlook. A coin that might be sitting unnoticed in a drawer or a box. A coin that could easily be passed from one person to another without a second thought. And yet, in the right circumstances, it holds the potential to be worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. This is why taking a closer look matters, because sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest value, and sometimes the difference between missing out and discovering something extraordinary comes down to a single moment of awareness. Remember this the next time you see a 1-cent coin from the first decimal series. Do not ignore it. Look close.